Welcome back. This is part 5 in an instructional series on how to design a timber frame using Fusion 360. In this part, I am going to copy all of the bents. So we will reproduce bent 1 and generate bents 2, 3, and 4. So let's get started. So this is where the model stands after the 4th video. We have created the entire first bent, including all the braces, and we also have all the joinery in that bent. So first thing we're going to do is go back to our master component and turn on the post plan and hide the bent. So this will show us where we want to go with our copied bents. Second thing, I'm going to go to bent 1 and right click on that and do a copy, and then I'm going to go up to the top level component and do a paste new. So doing a paste, I'm going to get an exact copy of the first bent, and the reason I don't want that is because this tenon is going to get longer in bent 2. It's going to go the whole distance of the timber. So I want basically I don't want an exact instance of bent 1. I want a copy of it that I can modify. So once again, right click on bent 1, do a copy, right click on the top level component and do a paste new. Now you can see in our browser I've got bent 1 with the parentheses 1. We'll fix that in a second. And now when I start moving, you can see I've got a second copy. So I'm going to take advantage of the sketch here in order to do a point-to-point move. So if I go into this and pick point-to-point in the Move Copy dialog box, and then I'm going to try this point as my origin point, and you can see after I click on that, it goes to the target point automatically. And I'm going to come down here for the target point. And that's simple. We've got the second bent in position. So I'm going to do an OK. And now first thing, I want to come back here and do my slow double click and name this bent 2 and open it up and see what we've got inside there. So inside there we've got instances or copies of post 1A, post 1B, etc. Everything has a 1 on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slow double click on each one of these and make this into 2A. I'm going to get rid of this stuff in parentheses. In this case, post 2B. So we are in bent 2 now, so that's why everything starts with a 2. So try to do this quickly. Post 2D, post 2C, tie beam 2CD, tie beam 2BC, and then the braces, I'm just going to call this braces 2. Now inside braces, remember we had all of our individual brace components, and these are instances of that first component. So I'm not going to go back in and rename those because I probably won't have those open. But let's make sure that everything is proper at this point. So I can hide bent 2, I can hide bent 1 independently, I can have bent 2 showing, but I can hide individual timbers within that bent without affecting the first bent. Okay, so it's really that quick. So now we've got our tenons which need to be extruded all the way back. So when I was practicing this video, the first thing I thought of is I would go into bent 2, into post 2A, into the sketch that defines the tenon, and right click and edit that sketch. But what I was surprised to see is that I'm actually in the sketch of post 1A because I made a copy of that component and it copied that sketch, and that's really not what I want. If I change this sketch now, post 1A is going to change. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of generating new sketches, is I'm just going to simply do an extrude on each one of these tenons to get what I want here. So I'm going to collapse things down, clean up a little bit. Okay, so now I am going to activate each post as I work on it. So I'm going to activate post 2A so that I get the extrude down in 2A's timeline down here. So I can pick E for extrude, and now I get this capture position or revert position. I want to capture because I just moved bent 1. I made a copy of bent 1 and moved it to the new position. So I'm going to capture that position. Okay. So now I'm back in the extrude. I'm going to click on this surface and I'm going to pull it towards me and then click on the rest of the post. The operation is join, so that that extrude became part of the body. Okay, so now I'm going to activate post 2B and do the same thing. Click on the surface. I can do that before or after selecting extrude. And click on the surface that I want to go to. Operation is join. Okay, so here I'm going to click on the post first so I can locate it in the browser, activate it, and then do an extrude, E for extrude, pull this, click on the surface I want to go to. So very quickly we've modified these 4 tenons. One more to go. Post 2D, activate that, and then do an extrude to this surface. Okay. So the purpose of these short tenons is there's going to be a beam, a top plate on top of it, and we don't want that mortise to go all the way to the edge. So we withheld it by 2 inches. But these inner posts, we want a full tenon on all of them. So that's what we've got right now. So now when we go to bent 3, we actually want a mirror image of bent 2. We want our braces on the opposite side. You know, we want beyond midway of this frame, we want everything referenced off of, you know, this side of the building. So I'm going to collapse things down. And now I'm going to go up to my mirror command. And I want to mirror components. And then I want to select the component. So actually this top level component, bent 2, is what I want to mirror. And then I want to select my mirror plane. Now that's not what I want to mirror about. So if I go up to the origin for the entire model, I want this surface right here. So when I click on that plane, I'm getting a preview. Let's zoom in and take a look at our preview. But you can see that now the reductions are on the opposite side and the braces are on the opposite side. So everything is referenced from this back side. So I'm going to click OK. And now we have a little bit of cleanup to do in our browser. So I'm going to go to this bent 2 mirror and change that to bent 3. And then open up bent 3. And same thing, we've got to rename all of these components. So I'm going to click on that, slow double click, and go to post 3A. So everything's going to start with a 3 here. Post 3B, tie beam 3AB. Post 2D is going to become post 3D. Post 2C, change that to post 3C. And so on. I've got just a few more to go here. Tie 3CD, tie 3 BC, and then we'll go to braces 3. Okay, so everything's renamed. Again, I'm not going to rename stuff inside the braces component itself. Okay, so we've got one more to go, and this last bent, bent 4, is going to be a mirror image of bent 1 because it's going to have the short tenons on it. But we want everything flipped to reference off of this surface. So, pretty much what we just did. We are going to go to the mirror command, select components. The object that we want to mirror is bent 1. I'll pick it here in the browser. Mirror plane is the same plane that we mirrored about, this one right here. And let's zoom in and look before we do an OK. We've got our short tenons, and they're referenced in the right side, so I'm going to click on OK. So back to our renaming. Bent 1 mirror is going to become bent 4. And then we're going to rename all of the timbers. Oops. All of the timbers inside there. There's bent 4. Post 4A. Post 4B. And naming these properly is really going to help us once we generate our construction drawings. So, a little bit of busy work, but it does pay off. Tie for CD, tie for BC. And our last one is braces 4. Okay, so let me turn off the origin, and I can actually turn off the master component. And let's take a look. Let's zoom in here. We can see, for instance, our braces are flush to the outside of the building. They're going the same way in bent 2. And then in bent 3 and 4, they flip around to the other side. Same with our through tenons. They're on this outside. Same there. In bent 3, everything flips around and references off the back side. So, very quickly, we were able to take one bent and generate 3 more of them.